Hello, I'm Sophie Anderson and I wrote The Girl Who Speaks Bear, and I'm absolutely thrilled that it has been shortlisted for Wales Book of the Year in the children's category. I was born and brought up in Swansea, so the people and the landscapes of Wales have always inspired me in my writing. When I was young, I would visit my grandparents in Pontypridd, and my grandfather would tell me Welsh folk stories, and my grandmother would tell me folk stories from Prussia, which is her homeland. And they both inspired me to reimagine folk stories and write them in my own voice. And The Girl Who Speaks Bear is peppered with these folk stories that are separate from the main narrative, but also interwoven with it. So I thought I would read you just a short part of one of those folk stories today. This one's called The Lime Tree's Curse. Once upon a time, a woodsman found the soul of the forest. His axe fell from his hands, and his eyes opened wide as he gazed at the tree that stood there. It was tall as the sky, wide as the sunrise, and it sang and danced with the wind. From its branches grew birds, from its seeds sprouted streams, and from its leaves lifted lyrical poems. With trembling fingers, the woodsman picked up his axe. One branch, he thought. I'll take one branch of this enchanted tree and carve my son a cot to give him sweet dreams. But when the woodsman lifted his axe, the tree spoke in a voice of rustling leaves. "Don't cut me," said the tree, "and I'll give you a wish." The woodsman's brow furrowed. He had everything he needed: freedom, food and shelter, the beauty and stories of the forest, and the love of his wife and son. Finally, an idea shone in his eyes. "I wish for my family to be always healthy and strong." The tree shivered, and seeds rained into the woodsman's hands. "Plant these around your home, and fruits and herbs will grow to keep your family strong." The woodsman thanked the tree and raced home to plant the seeds. A garden bloomed, so full of health-giving foods that the woodsman's family would always be strong. The woodsman glowed with satisfaction, but he also started to wonder, what else could he ask of the tree? Wants crowded the woodsman's mind, and desires ached in his chest. Before one moon had passed, he stood before the tree once more. "Tree," said the woodsman, "I'm pleased my family is strong and healthy, but I'm poor. I wish for riches to give my son a bright future." The tree swayed, and berries fell that hardened on the ground into luminous jewels. The woodsman rushed to gather the treasure and flew home feeling light as air. But after he stored the jewels, he yearned for something more. Before another moon passed, he was back at the tree. "Tree," said the woodsman, "my family and I live in a small cabin. I wish we had a bigger home." The tree shook, and a golden nut dropped. "Plant this, and a castle will grow." The woodsman's heart leapt. He beamed as he found a clearing in the forest, planted the nut, and then watched a castle rise from the earth with rainbow walls and shining golden domed roofs. Delight bubbled in the woodsman, but still he itched for more, so he went back once again. "Tree," said the woodsman, "my child is but the child of a woodsman. I wish to be a czar, and my wife a czarina. Then our child would be respected and revered." The tree shook its leaves and sighed. "Go home and be content." But greed clawed inside the woodsman like a hungry wildcat, and his hands twitched upon his axe. "Give me what I ask, or I'll chop you down." But the tree only turned to the sky and sang. The woodsman roared in anger and chop, chop, chop down a branch, and the tree cried out in pain. The woodsman froze, but it was too late. Tears of sap dripped onto the woodsman, cursing him forever. He ran home filled with remorse and held his family close, and the tears of sap upon the woodsman touched his family too. The next morning the sun shone on the castle, and the woodsman and his wife woke with heavy heads, for he was a bear, and she was a bear, and their son was a fluffy bear cub. Many moons passed before the woodsman and his wife grew accustomed to their new lives, but when they did, they found they were happy. They had freedom, food and shelter, beauty, stories and love, and as the bear czar and the bear czarina, they were respected and revered by all the creatures of the snow forest. Memories of their human lives faded, and their souls became the souls of bears. But their cub kept the soul of a human, and often wished to be part of the human world once again. And so a battle began between a wish and a curse, one that goes on and on to this day.